Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And now on to the rest of our stories. Nigeria Customs Service has announced the pre-launch of the B-Odogu platform, a trade facilitation tool in Apapa and Tinkan Island ports. Following the successful pilot phase at the PTML Command Lagos. This comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has endorsed the implementation of the new platform and directed all authorized dealer banks to integrate with the system to facilitate seamless form openings. Disclosing these at a stakeholders engagement at the Apapa Command yesterday, the Comptroller General of Customs Bashir Adeniyi emphasized that the phase is a pre-launch rather than full implementation due to the scale of operations at the Apapa Command. He explained that the new system represents a significant upgrade, replacing the outdated Nigeria Integrated Customs Information Service system (NICS), and that it has a more advanced and indigenous solution. Adeni noted that the federal government has granted a new concession to Trade Modernization Project Limited to develop the B-Odogu Unified Customs Management System to address the inefficiencies and frustrations associated with the previous customs management platform. Acknowledging the challenges faced during the pilot phase at PTML, he reassured stakeholders that all issues will be resolved seamlessly. He compared the transition to the introduction of the pre-arrival assessment report in 2023, emphasizing that while system changes often come with initial difficulties, the commitment of customs officials and industry players will ensure successful implementation. The Deputy Comptroller General of Customs, Kike Lomo Adiola, provided insights into the pre-launch process, assuring stakeholders of continuous engagement to refine the system. Adiola noted that the NCS had conducted extensive internal testing to ensure a smooth transition and stressed the importance of cooperation from all industry players. The success of this deployment relies on collaboration between customs officers and stakeholders. We are committed to addressing any emerging challenges together, Adiola stated. On his part, the Customs Area Controller (CSC) of Apapa Command, Babatunde Olomu, highlighted the role of ICT and upgraded modernization infrastructure in achieving the NCS goals. He noted that the command has prioritized training its officers to ensure a seamless transition to the new system. We have been intentional about preparing our personnel for this transaction. Batch by batch training sessions have been conducted for newly promoted assistants and deputy controllers to familiarize them with the new system, Olomu disclosed. Government of the United Kingdom and Nigeria have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen trade relations and economic growth through the implementation of Nigeria's National Quality Policy (NNQP). In a statement on Monday, the British mission said this initiative falls under Phase 2 of the Standards Partnership Program (SPP). The mission stated that the program was officially launched in June 2024 during the African Organization for Standards General Assembly in Abuja. It is designed to eliminate technical trade barriers, improve regulatory compliance, and enhance export competitiveness for both countries. The program is implemented by the British Standards Institution (BSI) in partnership with Nigeria's National Quality Council (NQC), the statement said. It operates under the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The SPP aims to deliver a robust quality infrastructure focused on standardization, accreditation, and conformity assessment, it added. It also supports inspection, testing, and metrology services to boost UK-Nigerian export capacity, attract investment, and enhance trade efficiency in line with global standards. The mission said stakeholders from public and private sectors attended NNQP Matrix implementation training of trainers workshop in Lagos and Abuja. Discussions focused on capacity building for quality compliance and the role of metrology in ensuring accurate measurements, calibration, and certification of goods. George Akume, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, highlighted the importance of a strong national quality infrastructure. He emphasized that improving standards, metrology, and accreditation systems can boost non-oil exports, create jobs, and strengthen the naira. This partnership with the UK is a major step forward in achieving these goals, Akume said. Also, Osita Aboloma, Chairman of the National Quality Council (NQC), stressed that stakeholder collaboration is crucial for Nigeria's quality and trade ambitions. He noted that an effective quality infrastructure would support the government's economic agenda and enhance Nigerian products' global competitiveness. Dr. Simeon Umukoro, Trade Market Access Lead at the UK Department for Business and Trade, reiterated Britain's strong support for Nigeria's economic diversification. The UK and Nigeria remain strategic partners in trade and investment. By improving Nigeria's national quality infrastructure, we are unlocking new opportunities for innovation, competitiveness, and economic growth, Umukoro said. China announced on Tuesday that it will impose fresh tariffs on a range of agricultural imports from the United States next week in retaliation against Washington's recent tariff hike. An additional 15% tariff will be imposed on chicken, wheat, corn, and cotton, Beijing's finance ministry said in a statement. It added an additional 10% tariff will be imposed on sorghum, soybeans, pork, beef, aquatic products, fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an order on Monday increasing the previously imposed 10% tariff on China to 20%, adding to existing levies on various Chinese goods. In response, Beijing condemned the unilateral imposition of tariffs by the U.S. while announcing its own countermeasures. The move exacerbates the burden on U.S. companies and consumers and undermines the foundation of economic and trade cooperation between China and the United States. The finance ministry stated. Additionally, China's commerce ministry said it would file a lawsuit at the World Trade Organization over the additional 10% tariffs. And now on to the stock market, foreign exchange market, and what the current exchange rate is today. Automakers declined after yen rose to near its strongest since early December against the US dollar, with Hino Motors dropping the most at 3.3%. Trump on Monday said that he told leaders of Japan and China they cannot continue to reduce the value of their currencies, as doing so would be unfair to the United States. The sharp fall in equities was a combination of the yen strengthening and fear of tariff policies, as well as the tech weakness since last week, all mixed together, said Naka Masuzawa, chief macro strategist at Nomura Securities. Concerns about U.S. growth may also be at play, he added. Cheap testing equipment market among other Nikkei heavyweights, Uniqlo parent firm Fast Retailing fell 1.2%, while 7&I Holdings slumped 6.9%, bucking the trend. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries rose 7.8%, was among defense-related shares to rally. The Nikkei Volatility Index jumped to 31.6 points, a level last seen in early November following the U.S. presidential election, before settling at 27.2. U.S. stocks face a tenuous moment with the arrival of President Donald Trump's latest tariffs. The benchmark S&P 500 is down about 5% from its February 19 all-time closing high as a series of weakening U.S. economic reports has raised concerns about growth. Tariffs are exacerbating the headache. The duties on foreign imports are widely seen by analysts as likely to increase inflation and to cut into corporate profits. But over a month into Trump's second term, investors are still trying to weigh the extent to which the president is using tariffs to bargain with trading partners on other issues, or if they are likely to be lasting policies. Trump has said proposed 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods will take effect on Tuesday, along with an extra 10% duty on Chinese imports. Stocks slid on Monday after the president said there was no chance for Mexico or Canada to avert the tariffs. Right now, the market still views tariffs as more of a negotiation tool and not as a long-term strategy, said Chuck Carlson, CEO of Horizon Investment Services. And if that starts to change, I think that would have negative implications for the stock market. Tariffs could pose challenges for companies by complicating supply chains or driving costs higher, some of which would be expected to be passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices, investors said. Morgan Stanley estimates that 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada and 10% tariffs on China through 2026 could collectively reduce earnings for the S&P 500 by 5% to 7%, a dynamic the market would likely price in advance of the earnings impact coming through. The bank's equity strategy said in the note on Monday. We're kind of going into a brave new world here on tariffs on several countries, and it's just really hard to determine two things: the reaction of the U.S. consumer to tariffs and the earnings and the results of companies that will be affected by the tariff, said Peter Tooze, president of Chase Investment Council. Beyond the levies in focus on Tuesday, Trump recently also floated a reciprocal tariff on European goods. With the implementation of tariffs, the multinational companies that are among the biggest weights in the S&P 500 will pay the price because they will have their profit margins squeezed, said Michael O'Rourke, chief market strategist at Jones Trading. Meanwhile, 41% of S&P 500 revenue comes from outside the United States, according to Apollo Global Management, suggesting that a tariff-induced global slowdown stands to reverberate in the U.S. as well. U.S. President Donald Trump's new 25% tariffs on the imports from Mexico and Canada took effect on Tuesday, along with the doubling of duties on Chinese goods to 20%, launching new trade conflicts with the top 3 U.S. trading partners. The tariff actions, which could upend nearly $2.2 trillion in two-way annual U.S. trade, went live at 12:01 a.m. European time, 05:01 Greenwich Meridian time, hours after Trump declared that all 3 countries had failed to do enough to stem the flow of the deadly fentanyl opioid and its precursor chemicals into the U.S. China responded immediately after the deadline, announcing additional tariffs on 10% to 15% on certain U.S. imports from March 10 and a series of new export restrictions for designated U.S. entities. Canada and Mexico, which have enjoyed a virtually tariff-free trading relationship with the U.S. for 3 decades, were poised to immediately retaliate against their longtime ally. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Ottawa would respond with immediate 25% tariffs on $30 billion, which is $20.7 billion worth of U.S. imports, and another $125 billion, which is $86.2 billion if Trump's tariffs were still in place in 21 days. He said previously that Canada would target American beer, wine, bourbon, home appliances, and Florida orange juice. Tariffs will disrupt an incredibly successful trading relationship, Trudeau said, adding that they would violate the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement signed by Trump during his first term. Ontario Premier Doug Ford told NBC that he was ready to cut off shipments of nickel and transmission of electricity from his province to the U.S. in retaliation. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum was expected to announce her response during a morning news conference in Mexico City on Tuesday, the country's economy ministry said. The extra 10% duty on Chinese goods adds to a 10% tariff imposed by Trump on February 4 to punish Beijing over the U.S. fentanyl overdose crisis. The cumulative duty, 20% duty also comes on top of tariffs increased sharply under former President Joe Biden last year, including a doubling of duties on Chinese semiconductors to 50% and a quadrupling of tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles to over 100%. The 20% tariff will apply to several major U.S. consumer electronics imports from China previously untouched by priorities, including smartphones, laptops, video game consoles, smartwatches, and speakers and Bluetooth devices. China's new tariffs announced on Tuesday targeted a wide range of U.S. agricultural products, including certain meats, grains, cotton, fruits, vegetables, and dairy products. Beijing also placed 25 U.S. firms under export and investment restrictions on national security grounds. 10 of these firms were targeted for selling arms to Taiwan. And this is where we wrap it up on this episode of A10 Business News. Before we go, another look at our major stories. On federal state budget ultimatum, Fubara Assembly sets for fresh showdown, and on education sector, therefore disburses $372.28 million loan to 2,973 Illinois students, according to Vice Chancellor. And on economic growth, federal government and NPCL work out 7.7 trillion naira fuel subsidy debt repayment. And in infrastructure, federal government approves 734 billion naira for Oyo Obomoso Road orders. And in solid minerals, federal government avoiding competition with governors over mining sites, according to the minister. And in solid minerals and in investments, DMO offers fresh federal government of FGN bonds after raising 1.63 trillion naira. And in PMS, Nigerians enjoy subsidized fuel as NNPC Dangote engage in price war. Don't forget we are open for other placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, Atlantic TV Network. You can watch us live on our website at www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. I am Favor Chikwesiri Michael. Thank you for watching and
Media Group presents the 2025 anniversary lecture of Atlantic Television Network and Wish 99.5 FM. Theme: Imperative of Private Media in Sustainable Development.
Keynote speaker, Professor Tony Iradia, erudite scholar and broadcast guru. Chairman, Professor Umar Pat, President, Society of Broadcasters, Nigeria, and Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Kashiri, Gombe State. Panelists: Chief Honorable Arthur C. Kalabo, Information and Communication Expert. Dr. Haka Tuait, Lecturer, Public Relations, Media and Communication. Dr. Bekwele Lawrence D.K., Lecturer, Marketing Communication and Public Relations. Opaka Dakuba, Chairman, South Nigerian Union of Journalists. Susan Serekara Nwikana, Chairperson, Nawach River State. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, FSM, FINC, FNINN, MNIM, ARPA, MIPPA. Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: 10th of March 2025. Venue: Dimeji Banquet Hall, Gay Place Hotel, Kilometer 5 East West Road by Obinkwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time is 11 a.m.
Call Kehinde Paul Obofadi on 0802 301 5728. That is 0802 301 5728, or info@atlanticnetwork.tv or info@wishfm995ph.com. You can also call Laurentia Ogu on 0818 344 6746. That is 0818 344 6746. Or leave content at atlanticnetwork.tv. This is